Hello everyone, welcome to my first ever Netflix review. So today we have two interesting shows. One kind of disappointing while the other really surprised me. So let's start with with bad news first. So I was kind of like hyped up about the first TV series I'm gonna talk about because I saw it on Twitch. I've been on Twitch a lot lately because there's this new game I've been checking out called Battlegrounds. It's quite a fun game. You guys wanna watch if you guys are into video games. But let's get right into what we're talking about today. So the first TV series we're gonna talk about is Iron Fist. Now Iron Fist is it's advertised on Twitch as like just like this TV series, this Marvel superhero, uh, a Netflix production kind of thing. I think they have a few like Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and all. I didn't watch all of those, but probably going to. But I kind of like after I watched Iron Fist, kind of have low expectation for the rest because this Iron Fist, I give it a 3 out of 10. Like this is a really terrible TV series with lots and lots of problems in their story. So let's start off with the basics. So storytelling 101 is show don't tell. So one of the first problems that we encounter is that we are told this place like Kunlun, like basically this place that he's been gone, like this guy's been gone for all he's there, but we never actually see this place. So this is like a simplest case of show don't tell. Like they just keep talking and talking and talking, but we never actually see the place. So it leaves audience wondering, and an example of a TV series is like this, but more successful is Arrow. Arrow is like the same thing, like this alternate places our protagonist has been in for a long time is missing. It's kind of like a same like a rip off of Arrow, but it just missed off like the basic storytelling details like show don't tell, so they didn't like show us what Kunlun is about. I have a feeling they were going to in season two, but I don't think anyone is gonna watch season two if it ever comes up. So yeah, so basically it's a rip off Arrow. It's like imagine Arrow meets Daddy Issues. Is basically what the whole story is about. I feel like the storytellers didn't really like grasp like what they really want to write about because this is like martial arts and then this guy with superpowers and then it's him trying to like understand what his father's company is. And I kind of think like the whole Buddha scripture thing that they try to introduce at the start, this Buddhist thing, like like Buddha teaches this and that. That was like interesting, but they just let it go immediately, which is like it's kind of like how they wrote the stories. Like, oh, one of the writers like I just read this Buddhist scripture and I know everything about Buddhism, but no, they don't. So like it was so shallow that they had so much promise. Like this guy had like a good character at the start, like something not as in like a good as in a good kind-hearted person, but as in a good as in like a strong character that something you could stick with at the start, but it just vanished like after like 2 episodes. He just became like an average guy with average problems. I mean, not average problems, but just nothing special about him. And there's this issue where like there's flashbacks, like how Arrow has flashbacks to show what like I don't know, I can't remember the guy in Arrow like his name, but at least we see like him on the island. But in Iron Fist we don't see where this Kunlun is. We just flashback to Snow and Snow and Snow, just basically reminding us that he was in a plane crash, which I think after like a few episodes we get it, but they just keep showing it. I think just because they don't have like a nice vision of what this Kunlun place is. I think they kind of figure out their story kind of sucks too. I think they know already, and there's like if no one buys it, they're probably not gonna like even bother describing what Kunlun looks like, which is basically I think what's gonna happen. They're just gonna scrap this if they're smart, because there's probably no way of saving this TV series. It's an attractive story because it's already a story that has been told, and the superpower that this guy has is nothing special. Iron Fist. I mean, like why does he need to have an Iron Fist? Just go to the gym. You can do everything that you are already doing with that Iron Fist that you never use in the whole TV series. So yeah, so that's really disappointing. I'll give it a 3 out of 10. It's a must not to watch for me instead of a must watch. But let's go on to the next one, which is a must watch for everyone. I think it's a very good TV series on Netflix. It's Into the Badlands, and I think it's only on Netflix in the US. So if you're in the UK, you probably have to go to Amazon Prime. I believe it's free on Amazon Prime. I mean, Amazon Prime's not free, but you can get a free trial and everything. So yeah, I think Into the Badlands is a must watch. I give it an 8.5 out of 10, probably a 9, but I think there are some loopholes. 8.5 out of 10. So basically, Into the Badlands, we have this post-apocalyptic world where there are 5 people in charge, and these people are in charge, and the balance of power is maintained because they are trading commodities to each other. So so basically, like imagine like water, oil, and like it's very easy to imagine this world falling apart when people hungry for power, which is basically what happened. So, it's a easy enough to understand story, and we get the world pretty like we understand the world pretty well because we get this like wide angle shots, and we get this like introduction to like to characters which we get into more. But let's talk about our main characters. Probably the main character is like opening scene is just this guy riding on his bike. Don't want to give too much away in case of spoilers, but I really think everyone should watch it. He's like this kind of he's like a Deadpool character who's not like trying to be funny or talk to the camera, but he has like two swords. He's kind of like Deadpool, but that's basically the only resemblance besides that he could fight, and he's like in this Into the Badlands a really good TV series in my opinion because it has really strong characters. Like every character has a unique motive and like a way of acting, talking, and something that I think it's the real selling point of the whole series. Like you could imagine every character as a standalone, uh, standalone like just point of interest. For example, I really like the first villain we see, Quinn. Uh, I don't know if he's really a villain, but I mean he's basically all set up to be a villain. But that might change because there's only 6 episodes in one season, which is kind of disappointing because I wanted to see more of it. But I guess that's how they get you on hook. I think on the first season they just trying to experiment on stuff, so they don't really have like too much. But they introduce a lot of things. I think the only problem with the TV series Into the Badlands is that they introduce this kid with superpowers, and they didn't really clarify too much. I mean, you can't really like give everything at once, but hopefully they'll build into that narrative more. I've seen the first episode of season 2. It's available on AMC for free to anyone who just goes on AMC, because normally when some first episode of a new season comes up, it's always free on whatever TV, whatever channel hosts it. So yeah, you can go on AMC and watch season 2 episode 1 for free if you can't wait for it, or you just want to see what the TV series is like. So season 2 is like it's really different, and I think season 2 is really more well shot than season 1 because we get this like dark and gritty scene that I don't want to spoil too much, but it's a new place, and we have introduced new characters which are really strong and have really strong personalities, which I think it's like I said, like the selling point of the entire TV series, because they have characters you remember, like I mean, in like trying to remember Game of Thrones, like even though it's like some people think it's a really good, I think it's a really good TV series too, but like the problem is Game of Thrones, there's so many characters you can't remember who is who. But Into the Badlands we have a few characters too, because it's kind of like that Game of Thrones style. They have like a few states and like people in charge, and you can't remember all their names, right? But you can here because we are introduced to them slowly, and they each have unique characteristics that you remember them by. So yeah, so I think all in all I'll give it a 8.5 out of 10 for Into the Badlands. So must watch Into the Badlands, must not watch Iron Fist. So I think the next two TV series I'm checking out is Limitless and A Series of Unfortunate Events. Now I read A Series of Unfortunate Events, and I think it's a really really good book. It's a children's storybook per se, but it's got a lot of dark elements to it, so probably not too child friendly. But yeah, and Limitless is I watched the movie. I think it's got potential. I think the movie wasn't that good, but the movie had a very good idea. So basically, that's why they made it in TV series. I think it could be really good. So see you guys next time.